Hola, bona tarda als que aneu arribant, D'aquí una estona donarem la cosa per iniciada. Bueno. Hola, bona tarda a tothom. Espero que encara em sentiu, encara no hagi perdut alguna peça de les connexions. Proposàvem que ja comencem aquesta sessió que hem preparat arrel d'una proposta que amablement ens va fer l'ambaixada del Canadà a través de la Laura Ballesteros a la EAIE passada, que també va ser virtual. I esperem que d'aquí puguin sorgir forces coses en el futur. Jo aquí deixo la meva intervenció, el meu paper a partir d'ara s'ha acabat, en tot cas serà de futur si voleu fer altres, si realment portem a terme alguna activitat. I en qualsevol cas ja li passo la paraula a en Josep Calbó, vicerector in pectore, diguéssim, si més no, i en tot cas segur vicerector en funcions, i per nosaltres endavant amb la jornada. Us recordem que la gravem, que si teniu preguntes podeu aixecar la mà, però que també va molt bé si les podeu posar en el xat, perquè així, diguéssim, es poden combinar una mica millor. I per el que fa a les qüestions domèstiques, jo per part meva crec que ja ho he dit tot. Per tant, si m'he deixat alguna cosa, disculpeu-me, i en tot cas, endavant. Vale? Vinga, bona tarda.
Gràcies, Laura, gràcies. Bona tarda, buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Benvinguts a aquesta sessió sobre les oportunitats de col·laboració entre la Universitat de Girona i les universitats i institucions canadenques en general. És molt satisfactori, de veritat, veure que el tema ha aixecat força interès, tal com es demostra amb la participació. Ara veig que hi ha més de 40 persones connectades, per tant, realment, aquesta jornada ha aixecat interès i expectativa. Com sabeu, la Universitat de Girona és una universitat que combina un fort arrelament amb el territori que li és propi, és a dir, les comarques gironines i a Catalunya en general, però també amb una marcada vocació internacional. Sabem que gaudir d'experiències internacionals és fonamental per a la formació integral dels nostres estudiants i sabem que la recerca ja és internacional per definició. Fa cosa de 2 anys, el Consell de Govern va aprovar l'estratègia d'internacionalització de la UdG. Posteriorment, com a resultat, la que fins aleshores era l'Oficina de Relacions Exteriors va esdevenir l'actual Oficina Internacional. L'estratègia es focalitza en la funció docent de la universitat, atès que la missió investigadora, ja hem dit abans, que té les seves pròpies dinàmiques, que són internacionals de bon principi. Sigui com sigui, un objectiu general de l'estratègia és el d'incrementar la internacionalització de la UdG. Per això es proposen diverses mesures, que ara no repassaré. Com és lògic, bona part de les relacions internacionals ho són amb els països de la Unió Europea, d'Europa en general. Però hem d'obrir també la mirada a la resta del món. En aquest sentit, Canadà és un país on les col·laboracions, fins ara, hem de reconèixer que no han estat molt rellevants quantitativament. I precisament per això pensem que és un país que val la pena explorar, que val la pena conèixer pel que fa a oportunitats que pot oferir a la UdG. Per això hem organitzat aquesta jornada y hem convidat a las 3 personas que nos acompañan. Gracias, Laura, por haber propuesto esta actividad que hoy llevamos a cabo. Ojalá que de esta jornada, con vuestra ayuda, surjan colaboraciones en el futuro. Estamos a la expectativa. Gràcies, Xavier, per acompanyar-nos avui. És un plaer retrobar-te després dels anys que vas passar a la UdG, que espero que encara et sentis una mica teva. Estarem atents al que ens expliquis que pot aportar la Fundació en l'establiment de relacions entre la UdG i les institucions canadenques. Thank you very much, Jen, for being with us this afternoon. We think that your expertise, your knowledge of the Canadian universities, is highly relevant for us for this meeting. We really appreciate that you share your know-how in order for us to start building collaborative activities with your country. Gràcies també a la Laura i a l'Alicia per organitzar aquesta sessió i, sobretot, gràcies a les més de 40 persones que esteu connectades, que esteu assistint a aquesta activitat. Espero de veritat que sigui útil i que, com a resultat, d'aquí uns mesos donem més feina a la Laura Ripoll i comencem a veure que s'estableixen nous acords de mobilitat, d'intercanvi, de projectes de recerca entre la UdG i les universitats i institucions del Canadà. Podem començar la jornada aleshores. De nou, benvinguts, gràcies. Laura Ballesteros, tienes la palabra. Gracias.
Hola, buenas tardes. Muchas gracias, vicerrector, por su calurosa bienvenida. Por nuestra parte, estamos más que encantados de explorar oportunidades a partir de este seminario con los miembros de la Universidad de Girona que participan en este seminario. Gracias, Laura y Alicia, por hacer tan fácil la organización de este seminario. La verdad es que tiene la Universidad de Girona mucha suerte de contar con 2 profesionales de ese calibre y con tanta simpatía. Por mi parte, antes de empezar mi pequeño minuto de gloria, quiero también dar la bienvenida muy calurosa y las gracias a Jean-Laurie, merci beaucoup. Muchísimas gracias por participar hoy aquí. Jean ha sido una figura clave en Canadá en cuanto a la promoción de los estudios canadienses, es decir, el conocimiento y la promoción de los valores y proyectos de investigación de Canadá en España y colaboración en estudios bilaterales entre España y Canadá. A nuestro queridísimo Xavier, pilar esencial en los estudios canadienses en España. Sin él no seríamos nadie. Y qué decir tiene que a mi también queridísima Marisa Calés, directora de la Fundación Canadá, que es desde luego la mano derecha de la embajada en cuanto a lo que es las relaciones universitarias y la promoción de las políticas públicas canadienses entre España y Canadá. Antes de pasar la palabra a Jean y a Xavier, que son realmente las personas expertas y que van a poder proporcionaros toda la información detallada de las oportunidades que pueden ofrecer las instituciones de educación superior en Canadá y los centros de investigación, yo voy a hacer simplemente 2 apuntes muy breves. Y es que quería comentar que las universidades canadienses poseen una tasa de investigación de las más altas del mundo, que la cultura de investigación está tan viva que el impacto se hace sentir en distintas disciplinas como de la medicina, la biología, la tecnología de la información, las comunicaciones, la agricultura, la silvicultura, la pesca, así como las ciencias de la tierra, el medio ambiente, la economía y el comercio. Y solo quiero dar una pincelada económica, y es que en 2018 el Gobierno de Canadá invirtió más de 10 millones de euros en investigación, lo que representa el 40% de todo el financiamiento de las investigaciones canadienses. Por lo tanto, solo señalar que el Gobierno federal apoya y cree firmemente en la investigación que se realiza en las universidades. Muchos de estos proyectos han sido terreno fértil para la innovación y la creación de nuevas tecnologías como las pantallas planas, las pizarras Smart, las BlackBerry o las películas IMAX. Entonces, yo voy a dejarlo ahí porque Jean Labrie, en primer lugar, que solamente quiero señalar que va a hacer su presentación en inglés, porque aunque él entiende el español, será capaz, como él bien ha mencionado, de entender una pregunta si se le hace muy despacito, pero yo creo que la mejor manera de dirigirse a él será en inglés. Y luego pasar la palabra a Jean Labrie, a Xavier Arbós, para que él hable en concreto del área de estudios canadienses en España, de todo lo que se ha hecho a lo largo de estos más de 20 años del programa en el que hemos trabajado junto con Jean, junto con la Fundación Canadá y la Embajada, para fomentar las relaciones académicas entre centros de educación superior canadienses y españoles, con el fin último de convertirnos en socios estables y en socios privilegiados en investigaciones conjuntas y en conocernos mejor, en crear lazos fuertes y lazos que nos ayuden a conocernos mejor unos a otros. El programa de estudios canadienses fue muy fructífero durante esos 20-25 años que existió, ha dado lugar a grandes académicos y a grandes proyectos de investigación y todos esperamos que ojalá algo parecido vuelva a resurgir en un futuro. Entonces, desear que a raíz de este seminario creemos el gusanillo en los investigadores, de las personas que asisten de la Universidad de Girona, que os intereséis por lo que Canadá os pueda ofrecer, y desde la Embajada, que por supuesto Alicia o Laura pueden proporcionaros mis datos de contacto, estaré más que encantada en contestar a todas las preguntas que podáis tener y potencialmente ayudaros a encontrar un contacto en una universidad canadiense o, de hecho, lo que trabajamos con Laura y con Alicia es acuerdos marco de universidad a universidad. Sin más dilación, voy a pasar a presentar muy brevemente a Jean y a Xavier y directamente ya voy a pasar la palabra a Jean Labrie. Jean Labrie tiene un máster de Ciencias Políticas por la Universidad de Laval, fue director del Departamento de Ciencias Políticas de esta universidad y más tarde se convirtió en el director internacional de la Universities Canada, que es la Asociación de Universidades de Canadá. Y como ya he mencionado, dirigió durante más de 25 años el programa del Gobierno Federal de Estudios Canadienses, donde se promocionaba el conocimiento sobre Canadá en el entorno universitario. En cuanto a Xavier Arbós, que me imagino que muchos de vosotros ya le conoceréis, es catedrático de Derecho Constitucional en la Universidad de Barcelona. Su campo de investigación es el federalismo y especialmente el canadiense y la justicia constitucional. Ha sido presidente de la Asociación Española de Estudios Canadienses y del Consejo Internacional de Estudios Canadienses. Tiene un diploma en estudios avanzados en Sciences Po en París y es doctor en Derecho por la Universidad de Barcelona. Ha sido decano de la Facultad de Derecho de la Universidad de Girona y por eso digo que por todos vosotros, seguramente por varios, gran conocido. Y sin más, voy a pasar la palabra a Jean y una vez poniéndome a vuestra disposición después del seminario o durante el periodo de preguntas para poder ayudaros a desarrollar esos lazos con investigadores y con centros universitarios canadienses. Muchas gracias. Jean, t'as la parole.
Merci. Thank you very much. First, I would like to apologize for not speaking Spanish. It may be the only promise I never kept. For the time I always said I will learn Spanish, and at the end, even there was always something, even in hiring a private professor, there was something at work was coming, and I had to be short, I had 8 lessons. So my Spanish is very, very limited. I've been asked to talk about the Canadian education system. I think the first thing that people who don't know Canada, what they need to know the first is that there is no, education is a provincial matter in Canada. There is no federal ministry of education. If there is issues that concerns all the country, we have an organization called the Council of Minister of Education Canada, who are meeting on a regular basis and will discuss issues that are everyone's concern. And also another thing to know is that the institution in Canada, the various universities and colleges and so on, are very autonomous. They will they make decisions about their programs. Of course, they have to be approved by the provincial body, but mainly they are very, very autonomous. One thing also to know is about the differential fees, meaning what you have to pay when you study in Canada compared to a local student. And when I say local, I don't mean Canadians. I mean in the province. To give you an example, a Quebecer will go to study to University of British Columbia, will pay the same tuition fees as a Spanish student who go to University of British Columbia. He's considered as a foreign student, and vice versa. And differential fees are provincially regulated, which means that they have different systems of calculating those fees and so on. I'll give you the example of Quebec and Ontario. In Quebec, let's say that Université de Montréal hosts a foreign student. The differential fees are not paid to the university. They are paid to a provincial pot, which is redistributed among the universities after a very complicated formula. In Ontario, since a few years, it's completely deregulated. I mean, the province said the universities, okay, you want to host a foreign student, you can charge it whatever you want. $1, $1 million, we don't care. But in the funding we provide you each year, we take into account the number of students. So we won't take into account the foreign student. So that means that that's their way to calculate the differential fees. And from other provinces, it can be a mix of those two things. It's very, very different. Another thing also is about the recognition of either courses taken abroad or diploma. Again, it goes by institution. There are a few organizations who can give you an indication of what you can expect as an equivalency. But it's up to the institution to decide, okay, your diploma is the equivalent of political science, for example. Your diploma is equivalent of what Jean-Labrie got at Laval University or not, and so on. It's especially important in a certain profession like in medicine, engineering, and so on, because on top of the provincial regulation and so on, you have some professional orders who will really dictate what they will consider equivalent or not. The system of education in Canada is quite simple. You, depending on the province, you go to from 6 or 7 primary school, then you go for about 5, what we call secondary school. And then after that, you go to university, except for Quebec, where you have 2 years of or 3 of what we call Cégep, Collège d'Éducation Générale et Professionnelle. And then you go to university. However, in Quebec City, you will have, in most disciplines, you will have your first degree at university after 3 years. Like in other provinces, if you don't have Cégep, you will have your first degree after 4 years. You can choose any university. Most of the foreign students in Canada who comes to Canada will go to University of Toronto, McGill University, Université Laval in Quebec, UBC, University of British Columbia, because they are better known. They are big university. But what's great with Canada is that you can be assured of equal quality of education, no matter in which university you go. If you go to a university, a huge one like Toronto, or if you go on a small one, you will be ensured of quality education. That's something very, very good for people. Also, all of our campus are very safe. There are sometimes some problems, but it's really minor, I would say, most of the time. You cannot be 100% secure anywhere. I'm not just thinking about university or whatever, but mostly in Canada, and especially in university campus, it's very safe. I'll show you, I hope you can read it good. This is a website where you can find, all the information you may need about Canada, about studying in Canada, about scholarships too. There is a lot of scholarships that you can get. For example, you're from Spain, you go on the scholarship page there and you say, I'm from Spain, I want to go to study to Canada, and there is some kind of data bank. You just, don't fill your name, just, from which country you are, and then you will have a list of all the scholarships that are available for you, either for student, for professor, for researcher. You can find that on that side. You can find also links to, like, the Council of Minister of Education I told you about before. You can find links also to what we call CSIC, the Canadian Information Center for International Credential. I was talking a little bit earlier about the equivalencies. So CSIC will not tell you, your diploma is equivalent to this or that in Canada, but they can orient you to organism who will again give you indication and so on, and they will give you a lot of information about equivalencies. Like I said, this site will give you information about scholarships, also about programs. So let's say that you are very specific. You say, I want to study some place where they have a very good program in biology. So they will give you a list of all the programs, links to the proper university, to the program themselves many times, and so on. So you'll have a ton of information on that site about everything which is related to coming to study to Canada, and more also. Like I said, there are also links for researcher, and so on and so on. You will have links about work permit, because you can be a foreign student and you can work also. Usually it's part-time. Some provinces is only on campus, some other provinces is on and off campus. So there is a broad spectrum of information you can get from that site. I will stop here for now, because I'll wait maybe to hear more for you guys, and maybe come back later to give you more information. I'll come back in just 1 minute on the UdG Canada side. It goes as far as being able to, I remember once I was meeting with a foreign student from Korea, and I mean, it was a Korean student. I was in Korea and I was discussing with him because he wanted to come to study to Canada. And I told him that there are some important Korean community in both British Columbia and Ontario. And he told me, I don't want that. He said, if I go near a place where there's a large Korean community, I won't integrate too much, with the Canadian population, and that's what I want. So something you may have consideration like that. Do you want to live in Quebec City under 1 meter of snow all the time? Or if you want to go to British Columbia and have sun and see, although these days they have some weather problem, but anyway, usually it's very nice there. So in that site, you have that kind of information. How big is the surrounding, if there are communities, Spanish community around and so on. You will have also an idea of you will have a lot of information. I'll close in saying that if you want to come to study or even work to Canada, you have to be very prepared. That site will give you a lot of information how to prepare. There are different immigration law depending on the province. There are a lot of differences between each jurisdiction. So it's very important to be very, very prepared. Usually, the student who enjoy the more their sojourn in Canada, their study in Canada, are those who came prepared, who took months actually to prepare, and they know what to expect. But basically, we are the good guys. We like to have fun. You will most likely find most Spanish-speaking people in the province of Quebec, because of course the language is from the same roots, but also Quebecers. I don't know if we have some kind of a special affinity with Spanish-speaking people. We're very close to the Caribbeans, where we go vacationing all the time. So a lot of people speak Spanish, and a lot better. I don't speak Spanish. I understand it a little bit, but I don't really speak well Spanish. But in the province of Quebec, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Quebecer, in the province of Quebec, you'll find a lot of people speaking Spanish. So I'll stop here. I'll be open to questions, and maybe depending on the conversation that will arise, I may come back a little bit later with more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jean. I would like to propose to you and to Xavier the idea of, okay, you have opened the door for making questions directly to you, but perhaps it's better than first Xavier makes his presentation. Perhaps there will be something that can be shared for both of you. So if you don't mind, and the audience don't mind again, I propose Xavier to make your presentation and then to open the floor to any question. I have one, but perhaps it will arise later on. So if you don't mind, Jean.
Oh, no. I was expecting that. I was expecting that everyone does this presentation.
Okay.
And we go to question afterward.
Okay, thank you. Gracias.
Gràcies, Laura. Bona tarda a tothom. Thank you very much. I will speak in Catalan because it will remind my close ties with the University of Girona. Quan em va proposar alguna cosa, sempre que em proposa alguna cosa, Marisa Calés, em resulta pràcticament impossible dir que no. Però quan la proposta anava de posar en el mateix paquet Canadà i la UdG, l'hagués matat si no m'ho hagués proposat. Per raons òbvies, els de la UdG sabeu que jo em vaig fer com a professional a la UdG i alguns ho vareu patir, i Canadà és per mi un país de referència, com espero que quedi clar en el que diré després. La meva intervenció no referirà, ja ho ha fet en Jean, molt millor del que podria fer-ho jo, als aspectes més pràctics de l'accés com a estudiants a Canadà o dels sistemes diferents que segueixen les universitats canadenques. Jo voldria, com m'ha suggerit la Laura Ballesteros, fer una mirada enrere del que ha significat el programa d'estudis canadencs, no tant perquè hi hagi alguna possibilitat que ja m'agradaria que es pogués repetir, d'una banda, com per veure què pot donar de si un país com Canadà. I, com a conseqüència, jo crec que la universitat canadenca, com a universitat, com a institució, com a institucions, 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 com a institucions I després voldria també aprofitar per donar una idea del context en què es pot trobar qualsevol que hagi de trobar-se, que hagi d'anar a Canadà i ser-hi d'una manera una mica estable. En primer lloc, m'agradaria parlar dels estudis canadencs, però voldria fer-ho marcant un aspecte que marca quin tipus de país és Canadà. Tots hem sentit a parlar del Goethe Institute, del British Council, de l'Alliance Française. Són institucions que un país estableix per donar projecció a la seva cultura, per atreure el coneixement sobre aquest país. I això es fa deixant aquesta tasca en mans de professionals que són del país i que, en certa forma, responen a les polítiques, com és lògic i no pot ser d'una altra manera, d'aquest país. El programa d'estudis canadencs va ser una cosa completament diferent d'això. El govern canadenc va posar a disposició dels acadèmics de tot el món la possibilitat de gestionar programes que portessin a terme la difusió del coneixement de Canadà i fer propostes per tal que els ciutadans de diversos països poguessin conèixer Canadà. I és més, parlo per experiència pròpia, això ho fa fins a les darreres conseqüències, deixant que els responsables de la gestió d'aquests programes siguin acadèmics estrangers. Per això va crear el Consell Internacional d'Estudis Canadencs, que jo vaig tenir l'honor de presidir durant uns anys, i han seguit amb aquesta pràctica fins que es va acabar aquest programa. Eren altres temps d'austeritat. Per què va servir aquest programa? Aquest programa va servir per desenvolupar diversos programes de beques. En concret, en el cas espanyol, vàrem aconseguir amb gran esforç i amb la inestimable col·laboració de Marisa Calés i de l'ambaixada de Laura Ballesteros i en el seu moment també de Laurent Choquet, posar en marxa alguns programes de coneixement de Canadà. És a dir, joves doctorants que anaven a treballar durant pocs mesos en universitats canadenques i també ja professors més o menys encarrilats a la seva professió que rebien finançament per estar un temps a Canadà i després incorporar o a la seva recerca o als seus ensenyaments alguna matèria que tingués a veure amb Canadà. Bàsicament vàrem treballar sobre terrenys vinculats a les humanitats, a les ciències socials i al dret. Les qüestions d'investigació i tecnologia, des de sempre, de ciències pures, diguem-ho així, varen anar sovint per altres camins. Vàrem col·laborar també amb la Fundació La Caixa, quan la Caixa feia beques per estades a l'estranger, però ens vam, si es vol, especialitzar en humanitats, ciències socials i dret d'una manera molt específica. I això jo crec que és un terreny que ofereix moltíssimes oportunitats. Des del punt de vista de la recerca en altres branques, ja ho ha dit la Laura Ballesteros, i és evident, jo que no soc d'aquest gremi, voldria recordar que al món hi ha poques àrees en les quals es pugui construir regionalment un avió. Tindríem Toulouse i tindríem la zona al voltant de Montreal, on se situa la fàbrica Bombardier. En alguns terrenys, com ara la informàtica i els videojocs, l'àrea al voltant d'Ottawa és una àrea d'un extraordinari desenvolupament. Però, com us dic, aquesta no és la trajectòria més seguida per als estudis canadencs. Té a veure amb les humanitats i amb les ciències socials. I això per què? Doncs perquè, en primer lloc, el Canadà és un país que, com si diguéssim, és prou diferent al nostre com perquè sigui interessant i alhora és prou similar al nostre com perquè ens puguem entendre. Molts dels problemes als quals han de fer front tots aquells que investiguen en àrees com el dret, medi ambient, ciències socials, sociologia, molts dels problemes que el món té i que necessiten aquesta mena de coneixements, m'atreveixo a dir que estan plantejats a Canadà i que Canadà ha sabut encarrilar-los, no solucionar-los, però sí encarrilar-los. La filosofia política, per exemple, amb tota la reflexió sobre la diversitat, sobre el multiculturalisme, porta una impronta decididament canadenca. Noms com Will Kimlicka o Charles Taylor estan al capdavant de tot això. I a més, ha tingut això un reflexe fins i tot a la pròpia Constitució canadenca, que recull aquesta vocació de mantenir l'herència, el patrimoni, el bagatge multicultural dels seus habitants. D'altra banda, des del punt de vista del dret, que és la meva disciplina, ofereix també unes oportunitats que no es troben pràcticament enlloc més del món. Només hi ha un país en el que n'hi ha d'altres, evidentment, però dels més propers, on puguem trobar una coexistència de dues grans famílies jurídiques com la nostra, la del dret civil, dret continental europeu, i la del common law d'origen anglosaxó. Seria el cas dels Estats Units i Louisiana. Doncs bé, en el cas de Canadà, tenim, d'una banda, una província on tota una branca del dret es regula a partir del Codi Civil, per dir-ho clarament. I això significa perquè qualsevol persona que pugui tenir aspiracions de conèixer el dret comparat, allà ho tindrà, com si diguéssim, viu. Podrà anar a trucar, podrà anar a creuar el carrer i trobar en algunes localitats una tradició jurídica diferent i aquesta mena de coneixements. I finalment, només voldria situar el panorama que engloba tot això. A través de la intervenció d'en Jean, haureu pogut veure com les universitats canadenques, amb molta diversitat, amb moltes diferències, però estan preveient sistemes d'acollida d'estudiants estrangers. Hem de pensar que Canadà és un país d'immigració i que, per poc que seguim les notícies, periòdicament s'estan plantejant el debat sobre quantes desenes de milers de treballadors estrangers necessita el país. És un país d'immigració i amb una tradició d'acollida de la immigració que arriba fins al punt d'incloure, com he dit abans, en el seu sistema constitucional una referència a l'habitatge, a l'herència multicultural de tots els que allà hi habiten, vinguin d'on vinguin. Ha aconseguit crear una referència, una cohesió basada sobre la idea de la ciutadania basada en els drets. I això fa que Canadà sigui un dels països més interessants on els problemes que travessen de manera dramàtica moltes societats estan sempre en la perspectiva d'acomodar-se i de trobar una solució pragmàtica. Des de fa alguns anys, quan organismes internacionals fan la llista dels millors països per viure, trobem Canadà en els primers llocs. I una de les característiques típiques dels canadencs és la seva immensa reticència a l'ostentació. I, per tant, quan comentava aquesta circumstància amb amics canadencs, sempre eren ells els primers que, en comptes de dir sí, fantàstic, quin gran país que som, que ho són, sempre hi trobaven dificultats. Per tant, és un gran destí per trobar-se, si em permeteu, el món com hauria de ser. El món i un entorn acadèmic com hauria de ser. No perquè aquí, evidentment, tinguem entorns acadèmics que no corresponguin al millor. La Universitat de Girona és un bon exemple. L'única cosa que Canadà, per la seva diversitat, ofereix la possibilitat, com us deia, de trobar-se en un conjunt molt ampli aquesta diversitat, no en els centres acadèmics, com ja sabem, sinó també a qualsevol lloc. Per tant, i acabo amb això, conèixer Canadà, tenir-hi una relació acadèmica, estudiar-hi, investigar amb canadencs i investigar in situ no és només l'obertura d'un horitzó professional, que és un objectiu importantíssim, sinó que és també, i això no és secundari, una manera de veure el món en alguns aspectes en el millor que pot oferir. I és també una gran experiència personal. Per tant, per la meva experiència, no puc fer altra cosa, coneixent una mica Canadà, coneixent una mica la UdG, que desitjar que aquesta relació duri molts anys i doni molts fruits. Moltes gràcies.
Bueno, moltes gràcies als dos speakers. Thank you very much to both speakers. And I would like to know if there is any question for one of you. We have some questions on the chat right now, but I would like to know if there is anybody who would like to make any question to Jean-Larry or to al Xavier Bosch. Si no hi ha, que jo no veig cap mà alçada, però segurament aquestes coses no les veig jo, potser les veu l'Alícia. Jo tinc una pregunta pràctica per fer en Jean, que potser me la pot contestar. My question is a practical one. I have, as international officer for many years, we were trying to, we have a contract with Laval, but then one of the problems we had to exchange students was the sort of French certificate they were asking for, but not only the French certificate, the French language level certificate, but the problem was that it was not such a common one, and it was very difficult to pass this exam in Spain. You need to be in Madrid. Only Madrid was providing with that special certificate, and that, of course, is an additional problem for our students. And I don't know if it's still like this or you know anything about that. I can, of course, visit the website you have proposed. And in terms of something the others don't know, and I will explain it in Catalan. No, I can make the translation later on. No ho sap ni el vicerector, aquest que ens acompanya avui, ni els altres qui són. Jo vaig estar llegint, preparant un cas 107, vaig estar llegint sobre Thomson Rivers University, amb la qual hi tenim un conveni. I el seu concepte de l'oficina internacional i de com ho feien em va donar molta inspiració per certes propostes que vaig presentar i que han acabat derivant en tenir una oficina internacional en lloc d'una oficina de relacions exteriors. Vaig trobar molt interessant la manera que ells tenien d'acollir la gent i probablement la gent que hi anava, and probably now after listening, Jean, I have understood why it was so interesting, because you understand that people coming from other provinces are to some extent foreigner in your own province. So that means that you provide with a kind of support, and the way that they make this support or provide with this support, it was very interesting for me. And now I am planning to visit Thomson River University as long as they accept my visit. Taking into account, and I think this is interesting for all the audience, that next March, the conference, the NAFSA conference, sorry, the APAIA conference, which is la conferència del Pacífic, will take place in Vancouver. We have been waiting for 2 years to attend that conference, and I am really willing to go there because everything was canceled because of COVID, and I am willing to be there. And of course, if the conference takes place in Canada, probably there will be some other Canadian universities who will be there, and probably that will be a possibility of making closer contacts with these people. Then, if you know anything about this exam, please let us know. And for the rest, it was just information for you, for the audience, and for the vice rector as well. Thank you.
To come back to the beginning of your intervention when you were talking about difficulties with Laval University, I was wondering, was it about the in some, not in all the universities, like, for example, I'm from political science there, there is a French language exam before you get accepted to the program. And I must admit that I'm fully responsible for that. I'm the one who instituted that exam. Oh boy, in 1988, I think. And it was more, honestly, it was more for the Quebecers than for the foreigners, because the last time I was teaching at Laval University, I had about 103 person in my class, 103 students, and not 10% of them were able to correctly write French. A lot of spelling mistake, but most, I think, worse is a lot of syntax, you know, how you organize your text and so on. So I am the one who started imposing that French exam to before being accepted to the Department of Political Science. And I know that after I left the universities, a few years after, the universities put that exam, and not the one we created, another one, in a condition for admission at the universities. I'm not sure, though unfortunately I cannot respond precisely to a question, if it was the question. I'm not sure that for foreign students, I'm not sure that apply. I know that there are some exigencies to have a functional knowledge of French, but I know, and you have to understand, it may depend on the disciplines where you study. For example, in social sciences, political science, industrial relations, and so on, most of the department will accept that the students can write his work in the language, his native language, as long as they have a professor in the department who understands that language. And Spanish is not a problem, like I said, in Quebec, in the province of Quebec, and especially in Quebec City, there's a lot of professors who will speak Spanish. Now, the other side of the question is that I'm not sure if you were referring to that French exam or what the province of Quebec is asking when you go to either immigrate or to study in the province, called the Certificat d'Acceptation du Québec, that we call CAQ. It's a special certificate, it's special to the province of Quebec. And for that, it would, the Canadian Embassy would be in a better position than me to give you some information about that particular certificate. You don't need that if you just come to visit or if you come to participate in a conference and so on. But if you come to Quebec, in the province of Quebec, for a longer period of time, you may need that thing, which is called Certificat d'Acceptation du Québec. So I don't, that's usually not a problem for the student, usually not a problem for the researcher or the professor. But that's something that maybe Laura Ballesteros is aware of, but it's something that the Canadian province of Quebec is requesting. To my knowledge, first, I don't know all the details of what the various institutions are requesting, but you will have that in the website I mentioned earlier. You will even have on that website the cost of a program. If you're interested in going to a certain program, they will give you an idea of how much it will cost. And just for the anecdote, if I was to ask you what are the most expensive program in Canada, when you go to study to Canada, many people will tell medicine, engineering, and so on. No, it's pharmacy. In most of the provinces of Canada, pharmacy is the most expensive program when you go to study to Canada. It's the one that discuss more. Strange, I don't know why. Maybe they do a lot of preparation, you know, as a test and so on. But anyway, so there was also, you mentioned your conference in Vancouver.
Yeah.
While you're going there, please, that's really a good opportunity for you to make contact and so on. One organization that may help you to make contact is the Universities Canada. We used to be called Association of Universities and Colleges of Canada, but now their name is Universities Canada, excuse me. They have a group of international liaison officers. That means that they have, you can reach them, you know, all in with one message. You contact the Universities Canada and you say that, okay, I'm going to Vancouver from that date to that date. Will it be possible to meet with the international liaison officer of that region, namely University of British Columbia, Simon Fraser, and a few other institutions. So they will put you in contact with those people in advance, and you can arrange a meeting, visit the institution, have a lot of information about the institution and so on. So yes, you may use that conference, and at that conference, usually there is many international liaison officers who are already participating in that conference. So on location, you'll be able to have a lot of contacts, have a lot of information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much. Thank you. Sorry, Alicia, you make the comment that there was a question for Jean somewhere.
Yes, in the Q&A section below.
Aquí. Are there in Canada postdoc programs that welcome researchers and their families? I can repeat.
They are, you know, when I was preparing for that meeting, I was looking, for example, to what was available for Spain. And if I look to the programs which are available for professor and for foreign professor and researcher, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those programs who may be of some help. Now, it's very rare. Actually, in modern times, I know in many years ago, there was some programs who would facilitate not only the visit of a researcher or professor, but their family too. But now I'm not aware of any program who will provide any kind of at least financial help for the family. They will maybe give some kind of scholarships or some help to the researcher or the professor, him or herself, but not for the family. However, the cost of living, if you avoid big centers like Toronto or Vancouver and so on, the cost of living is relatively modest in Canada. I would say from the little knowledge that I have of Spain, in most cities, it will be even a little bit lower than the cost of living in Madrid, for example. Barcelona, I love Barcelona. I've been there many times and I love that city. I'm not aware of the cost of living. So if you know what is the cost of living to Barcelona compared to Madrid, that may give you an idea the customer. Here in Montreal, I'm with a friend in Montreal right now. To give you an example, I try to convert that in euro quickly. It may cost you about 800-900 euros a month for a very decent apartment. Your weekly grocery may, if you are a family, may cost you 70, I would say maximum of 70 euros for a family of four. Let's say between 70 and 100 to be conservative. So, like, and Montreal is quite a huge city. Really, not really, but more expensive than if you go in Quebec City, for example, or if you go to Sherbrooke or Three Rivers and so on. So it's relative, depending on the personal condition of the professor or the researcher. It can be possible to bring his or her family along for the time of the research. Now, the length of the stay would be important, because depending on how long you stay, that would define if you need some kind of a visa or whatever special documentation. And again, the Canadian Embassy will be in a better position than me to tell you. There may be also the question of a work permit. All those unfortunate administrative little barriers and that's why I was saying before, you have to prepare a long time in advance before coming, especially if your stay will be long. If you come for a few weeks, I mean, no problem. But if you come to do a full program or to do a research that will maybe take you a year with a Canadian Institute, you may need a lot of preparation about those silly things that you don't want to deal with once you're on location. Recently, there was a young Spanish medicine intern who came to Canada, and I met with him and I helped him a little bit. He was very well prepared. I should ask him because now it's beginning to get a little bit cold here, if he was prepared for the coldness. But he was very well prepared. He knew where he was going. He knew a lot about and I kept in contact with him. We email or phone each other from time to time, and he's very comfortable. He's going well. His stay for Canada is from October to December, although December will be more tourist than work. He was an internship in an hospital in Quebec City. And he was well prepared, and I think he's enjoying his stay, partly because he was well prepared. I'm sorry, I know I give long answers to obvious questions. Sorry about that.
Very much, Sean. There is also another question for you, but to my opinion is for you and for the University of Girona, because the question is there any real chance to reach an agreement with Canadian universities in order to set a dual degree in the field of economics and business between Canadian University and the University of Girona?
Mm-hmm. That's the kind of things that you will get an answer from the International Liaison Officer Network I was telling you. To give you an example, unfortunately, it's been 25 years since I was with the Universities Canada, so I don't know the name of the person in charge now, but if you email to Universities Canada General Information email that you will find on their website, you tell them, okay, I'm interested in established links between the University of Girona and any universities or a specific university or university in a region, let's say in Ontario, in the field of business and commerce or whatever field you want, and they will just being, you give them as much information as possible on what you want to establish as an exchange, and they will give you the name of the international liaison officer of the various institutions that may be interested. Actually, what they will do, they will put your message in their system across all their members. And I think in Canada, I think there is just one or two institutions which are not members of Universities Canada. So you'll reach almost everyone. And they will say, okay, here we have the University of Girona, which is interested in establishing a partnership in business school. And it will go all across, and then they will respond to you directly. The university which are interested will, and believe me, I mean, like I said, it's been 25 years, but when I was there, and I heard even after I left there, this network is working very, very well, very effective, very quick. Maybe during the summertime or during the Christmas vacation, maybe a little bit slow because you get an answer, but usually within a week, you will have people responding to you saying, okay, we are interested, and then you can have a direct exchange with the institution to reply to you about what you would like to do and so on. And a lot of Canadian institutions are interested in those partnerships. There used to be a data bank of all the partnership between foreign and Canadian institutions, but unfortunately this data bank doesn't exist anymore. It was Universities Canada was responsible for that data bank, but I would say at least 10 years ago, there was a lot of technical problem. It was not manageable, so they abandoned it. But like I said, the International Liaison Officer Network is a great tool in order to find a Canadian institution which will be interested in having a partnership with you in any field.
Okay, thank you. And I think the same answer applies to another question here in the chat saying how to establish a PhD among Canada, between Canada and UdG. So I think the answer will be.
You mean a dual diplomation, something like that?
PhD. I would like the person. I see.
The question, I don't know if I understand well the question. It looks to me like the question is, will it be possible to have a dual PhD from both Spain and Canada? It's been seen before. Sometimes there are some agreements, but you need a partnership between the two universities first. There was, let me think, there are some mobility programs in Canada where you establish a partnership between two institutions, and it's up to the institution to decide. It's not, like I said, there's no federal Ministry of Education in Canada, and the universities are pretty autonomous. So it's up to the institution themselves to decide if we do a joint program. And those are, I mean, it's been 2 years since I retired, but though there was, I won't say a lot, but there was some programs like that in existence in Canada in various fields, but it's really between the two institutions. Again, like you said, yes, my previous answer was related in the terms that if you want to establish a partnership, the quickest way, of course, if you travel, if you may have a conference and meeting, you can start those discussions at that occasion, but the quickest way to try to establish that is really to go through the International Liaison Officers Network. Again, sending a message saying, okay, I'm interested in having a joint program, and you'll get some answers.
I see. I am now checking again in the questions and answer part of this meeting. And I have one, a rather practical question. Are co-tutel PhD agreements possible common between Canadian and Spanish UdG in particular institutions? I imagine the question says, are there any guidelines or advice other than directly contacting the institution? Probably in the websites you have proposed, you can find information about that.
Yes, you will find in the website I propose, there are different information. And like I said, you may even, you will have information about all the programs. Most of the time, the way the website works is you go in the proper tab, you know, if you're a student, a researcher, or an institution and so on, and you go, and there you will enter the country or you're from, Spain in your case, and then many times you'll have the field. So social sciences or business or whatever field you're interested in. And then you click on the button and you give you a list of all the programs that are available in which institution and so on. And then it's up to you to either contact everyone or make a choice and so on and so on. What you can do is really, my best advice for those kind of questions, go to the website, try to look if you find the information you want and look all the details. And most of the time, there will be a place where there will be a point of contact. If what you see on the screen is not sufficient for you, they will say, contact us, you will contact us, and the people from the International Education Division at the Department of, at the Global Affairs Department will answer you and direct you to the proper place.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I don't know if there are any other questions. Well,
there are more questions in the chat, Laura.
In the chat. Okay. The question is that Edu Canada informs about questions the students questions that the students may have, but studying or researching in Canada universities. But if a faculty member or researcher would like to teach or do research in Canada, what are the best channels to get information?
Okay, for the student, for the professor and researcher, UdG Canada, the information they will give you will be mainly about the scholarships that are available for the teachers and the researcher. That's mainly the information they will give you. And that same site will also give you information about the various programs in the various universities. So let's say that if you are someone in computer engineering, you can find easily through that site the universities, the institution that will offer that type of programs. And now, in terms of depending if you want to go to teach or establish a research partnership and so on with universities, then again, my response will be, I mean, you can either go on each Canadian University website, find the general inquiry email and contact those institution, but that will be long. Again, the International Liaison Officer Network will most likely be the quickest way to reach various institutions. you write an email saying, okay, I'm interested in teaching or researching computer engineering, give a few details about what is your field of expertise, and then they will spread it through the network. And if institutions, what the institution will do, what the international liaison officer will do when he receive or she received the message, is that, okay, they will contact the local professor or researcher who are doing computer engineering in their institution and say, hey, we received that message from this foreign professor from Spain, which is interested in doing this and that. So, and then the professor will enter directly in contact with the Spanish people inquiring the question. And like I said, it can be, you have to give the time. You send your message, they receive it, they spread it through the institution and so on. So maybe within a couple of weeks, you will you can expect to have an answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, as far as I have understood, I am in love with this website. It seems to be really very useful, and I would like to be able of managing something like that. I don't know if you agree with me, but I have perhaps we can, because the most of the questions are around how can we, and of course, Jan is not an expert of every university. So it's obvious that we must, as a university, we must do a great research or big research inside this Universities Canada website and all this, and in Edu Canada, to know what can we do. And perhaps this could be a first homework for the forthcoming vice rector, which will be there in a few times, to organize a little bit this big amount of interest in Canada, and to organize it a little bit better or in a very much more structured way. And perhaps it's time now to finish with the session. I don't know, which is your opinion? The question is for the vice rector, of course. I cannot make this sort of decisions, but I have the feeling that we have got a very interesting view about what can we do, what is Canada, we can feel familiar. Then Xavier has explained very clear that, and the Canadian part of this mixture is they are well structured and they have this nice website where you can find a lot of useful information. I don't know, Josep.
Yes, I agree. Laura, thank you. Yes, I agree that I think that we have, learned quite a lot of interesting things today. Actually, one thing that Xavier has said is very, it's like a summary. It's Canada is so close to us, so it's easy to go there, but it's also so different. So we can have a good experience if we go there. So I think this balance is very, very interesting. So I think that yes, Laura, it's time for us to work on the matter. So to learn a little bit more about all these opportunities, searching on these websites, and probably in this conference in Vancouver, we will also. We'll have the opportunity to have a direct contact with some Canadian institutions. So yes, I think that, if there is no further questions, we could again say thank you to the speakers, Xavier, Jan, Laura too, and finish the session.
If you allow me, I just forget a little thing. The conference you're going to Vancouver, the NAFSA conference, the UdG Canada people will be there.
Yeah.
Okay, probably. They will be. Yeah,
it's not the NAFSA one, eh? It's the APAI one, but any case, yeah, they will be there.
A big booth, and they will have, and usually most of the Canadian institutions are at the same place in that Canada booth. So you'll have a lot of information there. Excuse me.
No, come on, please. Bueno, Laura, pues de Laura a Laura, ya ves, una conversación en la EAIE, y aunque fuera virtual, y hasta aquí hemos llegado como primera etapa, luego veremos. I bueno, jo no me'n volia estar, ja sé que em prenc unes llibertats que no tinc, però em va fer tanta il·lusió quan em van dir ara vindrà el Xavier. Em va fer molta gràcia i, per tant, em volia despedir específicament de tu a l'hora de tancar, perquè va ser una sorpresa molt agradable. Gracias, Marisa, y gracias, Laura, también por nuestra parte. Seguro que Alicia, que es más discreta que yo, y por eso triunfará más, se suma a los agradecimientos i a tota la resta, doncs, moltes gràcies a tots i ja ho sabem, estem allà, als barracons de Montilivi i bueno, començarem a preparar alguna cosa xula amb el Canadà, aprofitant que anem a Vancouver. Jo estic molt contenta de que no m'hagin mogut la paella d'allò, perquè diuen que a més hi poden veure balenes a sobre, això. O sigui que moltes gràcies a tots.